Welcome to the 580 show, episode 87. I'm here with a special guest, Mr. Cody Abell. What's up, Cody?
What's up, man?
So we're here for a little bit of a special episode this week. We're going to pretty much just talk about Clash of the 80s, do a little unofficial, but we'll call it official Clash of the 80s prediction show this week, and talk about the events, talk about the athletes, talk about the venue, where it's taking place, how it's taking place, how we think it's going to shake out, look at some people that submitted predictions, and just talk about the whole kind of weekend together. So I'm excited to have you on.
Yeah, me too, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Are you jealous? Not jealous, or you have like FOMO? I mean, I have FOMO, like seeing this 80s show this weekend.
What's funny is when I was getting ready for the Arnold, so I did the Clash qualifier one, it kind of worked into what we were doing at the time. And I also wanted to be a part. I wanted the Clash organization to see that the 80 kilo class is viable. So I felt like it was important. Like, I need to be a part of the qualifying process. I was a little bummed at where I shook out in the standings, but again, I was getting ready for the Arnold. But now, like, my FOMO isn't of competing. It's like, I just want to be there, and I just want to, because so many of these guys are people I talk to. Like, I mean, I talk to CJ and Ross multiple times a week, either via phone or Instagram. So, like, I kind of just wish I was there to help take care of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I'm jealous. I wish I was going out there. It wasn't strong enough to qualify. So, I mean, I'll have to watch from home, but I've got a big screen at the gym, so we're going to have it on for the weekend, and I'll get to watch. So,
yeah.
But, and I just want to say on this, like, I'm not there's 14 guys competing. We're going to kind of say where we think stuff's going to shake out. Not trying to, hurt feelings or anything like that. It's all in good fun. Just trying to see, I hope every single person goes, and this is the class that I compete in. So, I wouldn't take anything I say to heart as far as predictions. Cause I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Yeah. I mean, we'll just go ahead and preface, if anybody from Clash 80 is listening, we're going to run through everybody's name individually just so everyone gets a shout out. But if we don't happen to mention you in some of these predictions, just like understand that, like, you guys are all elite as fuck and you all deserve to be there. And this is strictly like an analytical thing. Like,
yeah.
But there's a couple of these guys we also don't know enough about. Some of these guys are like a little less known. So that's also a factor. But everyone on this list is a badass just by being there and qualified. So if we don't say your name past the athlete intro, guys, like, you're incredible, and we're stoked. Josh and I, everyone knows, like, we love strongman, but we are very devoted to this weight class, and we fully support everyone out there.
Yeah, man, I'm biased. And if you don't like what I say, you can just, like, it's like that World of Warcraft meme where that guy's sitting at the computer. That's basically me right now, because I'm not qualified to compete. So if you're there, dude, you beat me. So congrats. You're already ahead of me, man.
Yep.
Did we decide on athletes or events first?
Events.
Okay. So we'll talk. It's 5 events, which is kind of unique in the aspect that a bigger show, Nationals, OSG, Arnold, those are the bread and butter for our class, and they have been for a long time. And now Anthony Furman's coming in, shaking things up. So only 5 events at a big show. Will that make a difference? I don't know. I mean, it certainly can.
Yeah. I think 5 in a day is what makes it interesting. Like, if it was 5 over 2 days, I would have some pause, but we can get into the more specific details. But some of these guys, and this isn't a diss, but like, some of these guys compete at such a high level only that some of these guys haven't had to do a 5 event show in one day. So we'll get into that in a minute, but and
let's just acknowledge right off the bat, this show is going to be done in 2 hours.
Yep.
So You might be used to doing 5 events in a day at maybe you do a regional show around you, or you do a show just around your house every year that you compete in, and it's, done in 6-7 hours like a normal strongman show. This is 5 events in 2 hours. I mean, it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But the events are, first event is max axle clean and press. So the way it says, it starts at 225 and it's 20-pound jumps. One thing I thought was interesting, and I kind of wanted to get your opinion on what they mean by this. And it says smaller jumps will be given at the judge's discretion.
So what I take that is one of two things, or both. One, I have a feeling once they get to, let's see, 25, 45, 65, 85, I think after the third or fourth lift, I think once they hit either 285-ish or 300, they're going to drop down. The international all-time record for our weight class on axle, to my most recent knowledge, is 330, 331 by Carl Sherry in Australia. He did that late last year, early this year.
I remember watching him hit that.
Yeah. And then before that, it was like 315. So I think in my mind, it would make sense for them once they hit 285, maybe jumping 300, and then I think 10 or 15-pound jumps from there. I think good.
I was curious. I thought maybe like kind of in your realm of thinking, like they were just going for the record. Like if they go, like all the way up 20s, and then it's like, okay, we're at the record. Let's break the record by 5-10 pounds. I was thinking that might be it, but
I mean, that's what happened when Andrew and I did nationals, when he hit the 300 and we were doing the 15-pound jumps, like they were like, all right, if you hit 315, that breaks the record, the strong corp record. Log. And I said, well, how much is the record? And they said, well, it's only 305. And luckily, with the support of my coach and the other athletes, like I was able to step in for Andrew because he was sort of recovering. I said, don't make him do a 15-pound jump. Give him 308 or whatever the minimum is to break the record, and give him a shot. Because going from 300 to 315 as an 80, that's hefty, especially if it's 10 pounds over the record. So I think that is the scenario they want to give themselves. So once they get into get it in and around 300, I think they're going to want to do smaller jumps and maybe try and give them a little bit more of a break. Because I have a feeling that like they want to try and break that record in the competition.
For sure. It's I'm just going to be happy to see a record attempt that isn't a deadlift for once. Like it's just so drawn out, man. Like I want to move on to something else, but I do think like out of the 14 guys competing, there's a decent amount here that are capable of pressing 285 plus, like very regularly, like it's not going to be like, I think you're going to have over half the class left still at 285 attempts.
100%. I mean, and this isn't a knock, but if someone, let me put it this way: if you miss because of a technical error, that's one thing. If your like all-time best is only 285, I don't even think you're going to be able to crack the top 5. Personally, I think that's going to be too much of a hole.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it's impressive. But, so do you think before we move on to the next event, do you think there's a chance that the all-time record gets broken here this weekend?
100%. I think can I list some names?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, again, if I don't mention someone's name, it's because your online presence is lacking, or your training didn't have enough details. But I think between Tommy, Ricky, Hughes, Dan Ashcroft, I think we have 3 to 5 guys that are going to absolutely get like 315. After that, I think like it's honestly who's feeling good. But I think those guys are definitely going to end up around the 310, 320 mark. I do think that extra little bit to 330, 331, it's going to take like no matter how strong you are, that's a heavy axle. So
Yeah.
but I think it's definitely in the cards for the record to break. I think the top three finish is going to be 3:15 to the world record.
Which is wild.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, I'm kind of in your same. I'm in the same boat of thinking there. I sound like a real fanboy right now, but what did Tommy just post on Instagram that he pressed?
I know I think he hit like a 325 off of blocks.
Okay.
Something like that. He listed it in kilos, I think. I didn't see it. Someone sent it to me.
When people list in kilos, I don't know why my brain just shuts down and I can't comprehend it. I just move on.
It's not free enough. No, it was, I remember specifically, I think it was around 320 off of some blocks. I haven't seen much else. But I mean, he's got the power. Like, I think someone like Tommy, the axle is going to be a better format for him for pressing compared to the log. I think it allows him to use that explosive power that he has a lot easier. Because there's you don't have this 12-inch object like basically like off of your body or out in front of you. You know, the bar is like clearly over the top, and he's so vertically explosive that I think he's probably going to be able to get so much power and get the bar off his chest that like he's got it. It's just whether he's got it on that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean the same goes for some of these other guys too, man.
Yeah. That's something I'll touch on too once we get into the athletes. But the next event is I think this event's going to be a smoke show for our class. 650 yoke, run it down, I believe 50 feet. Let me just verify. I don't want to get anything wrong. 50 feet.
Yep.
Then you run down, grab a sandbag, 250, run it back, run it back down, 250 bag again. So 650 yoke and then 250-pound bags. I think that this is an event that I really do think is if I look at the rest, this is going to be like deciding podium the rest of the day, because I think this is an event that like top 6 can be decided by like a second or two.
Not even like points of a second.
Right.
Let's see. So we've got 50 down, 50 back, sandbag, back, sandbag. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of 50, 3 of which are carrying. What do you think the top, say, 3 time ranges are going to be?
I don't know. It's so tough to think about. It's so tough.
Yeah. They've got a pretty low thing to load the sandbags on. So they're not loading it onto the yoke. It's only about Ross, I believe, told me it's like a 3-foot tall Jeep or something like that.
Yeah, it's a Jeep Gladiator. So it's the tailgate of a Jeep Gladiator.
I don't think we're going to have, I think the time's going to be a little faster because they're not going to have to go as high. Now, it being a car, that might make it a little, maybe because of the bumper, but it's still pretty low. So I think that's going to speed up. I mean, if we've got 50.
I mean, you'll under 30 seconds.
Yes. I mean, sure. I would say the yoke 650, 50 feet.
I mean, it's just a lot of running. It's a lot of moving, but the event's going to look like, if you're watching it, and I forgot to say this at the beginning, but this show is streamed so professionally. It's on ADL. We'll post the links like all week with this podcast too. So it's like $5.99 to buy, and $8.99 you get the 105 show too. So which is really cool. We'll talk about that more in the end, but I really think like high 20s will probably what we'll see like the top 3 guys get. I'm gonna
be really nice, and I'm gonna say that everyone has been doing their sprint and gate work, which I know some of them have not, but we'll just assume they are. So I think for the transitions, which there's 2 transitions. So we'll say about a 1.5 second 50 transition per. So that's 3. The yoke, I'm gonna say, is under 10 seconds. Yeah, for the good guys.
Oh, dude. 50
so let's say 8 seconds for the yoke.
I think the really good guys are 7 to 9 seconds.
Yeah, so we'll say 8, split it. So 3 seconds per transition. And then the sandbag, I think so there's a pick. I think each sandbag,
10 seconds.
yeah.
I think you're right about 30 seconds is where we're gonna be.
I think, I mean, my math is saying like 30, 31. And I think, but I mean, dude, if you cut down those transitions with some of those guys and you know what it is? It's going to be it's going to be the transitions and how they pick up the
sprint back.
Yeah.
That sprint back. Dude,
you
know that GIF where there's like all those numbers popping up and like the guys like that was literally just you. I'm gonna make that a GIF this week. You just doing that on a whiteboard. I'm gonna have
Cody predicting the medley time results. I mean, if you look at my board, I was literally just writing all that down.
Yeah, dude, that was funny. You were just literally exactly like that GIF. That was funny. But I seriously do think that like podium can be, we're going to look back and it's like, damn, like 1 second literally changed this guy by like 3 to 4 spots.
Honestly, dude, again, with some of these guys, I don't even think it's going to be a second. Like, so when I did the regional, the OSG regional, like I'm a medley guy. I think I've brought my skill set up. I'm a lot of other things now, but like I'm still really fucking fast. But my foot slipped on the transition to the Husafel stone, and it made me take one extra breath before picking the Husafel stone, and I lost the medley by like literally 1,000th of a second.
Yeah.
And I think with there being two pretty heavy sandbags, 250 is pretty fucking heavy. If they don't have the transition back to the sandbag, but if they don't have their like pick and carry set, like that's like if their hand slips and they haven't been practicing it, that's going to cost them that.
Yeah. I think like 29 seconds wins this event. That's what I'm going to say.
I definitely think sub 30, man.
Which is wild though. Like, that's wild.
Yep. I think, man.
Now they do. I do want to note. I should have noted this at the beginning. They do have 75 seconds to do it. So
really,
yeah, they got the full strongman minute. So I think there will be guys that will need that full 75 seconds.
No, definitely. But I think like we're talking like top 3. But I think like 28.5 to 29.5.
Yeah.
If for
29.87. That's my prediction.
There we
go. If I'm right, we'll look back at this. But
yeah.
No, that's a good event. The next event, it's really hard to talk about because it's a head-to-head car deadlift, and car deadlifts they're always just. It's not like you and I can just say, right, like Cody, okay, it's a 550 axle deadlift, right? Like we know what that feels like 100%. A car, I've done car deadlifts multiple times and they all feel different, right?
They're all different. And this is front handle.
Yeah, front handle. Athletes, I'm just trying to look through the rules, see if there's anything peculiar, but just 60 seconds, as many reps as possible, up and down calls. Nothing really crazy. One thing I love, no deadlift suits. But other than that, man, it's pretty standard. It's head-to-head format, which I think is cool.
Yes.
We know who our big deadlifters are. We'll talk about it when we go into the athletes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's a pretty strict standard thing. I'll be curious. I'm gonna be curious if this is gonna be an event like 6 reps wins because it's really heavy, or does 26 reps win? You know what I mean? Like, or is
it's like it's like you said, it is gonna just depend on how they have it set up, man.
Yeah. I've seen car deadlifts be really heavy where guys zero it. They can't get it off the ground, and I've seen ones where it's just. I hope it's that happy medium where like the winner gets like 9 to 11 reps.
Yep.
But then like your bad deadlifters are getting like 0 to 1 to 2 maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the promoters, this is a huge show. I'm sure they're doing a great job with it. I can't really speak on it on how heavy it's going to be because I just don't.
I'm hoping no one gets any 0 on any event since this is like a pro show. That may not actually matter, but like in my head.
Yeah.
it would be nice if there were no zeros.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sandbag toss for max height is event 4. 35 pounds. That's pretty standard for us for throwing, I think, like on a rising bar.
Yeah.
Starts at 12 foot, 13, 14, 15. It says the same thing. Smaller jumps can be at the discretion. Maybe that's for a record of some sort. Maybe if they two guys tie at 18 feet and they're like, hey, let's go 17 and a half.
Yeah.
We don't want to split points. I don't know. As many attempts as possible in 30 seconds. I like that. I like not limiting it at like 2 throws, because if a guy gets a third throw off, just give him 30 seconds. That's awesome. Standard event. How high are we going to see a guy throw 35-pound bag? Tommy, I think, is Tommy the favorite to win this by far?
I would say, yeah.
If we're in Vegas, Tommy's got to be the favorite to win this one.
That's a lock for him, for sure. I mean, there are some solid throwers here. I do think.
Oh, there's some really good throwers.
Yeah, we've got some good throwers, but that Tommy is just so like,
dude,
man. Imagine if Andrew could have made this.
That's what I still think people are expecting Andrew to just show up at this show. Like, I know he's not.
We talked the other day, actually, on the phone. We were catching up, and he was. I think I said something almost like that. He was like, "No way, man."
Yeah. He's so like, okay. I have personal experience of this because at Nationals, the bag throw, I was directly next to Andrew. We were in the same lane, same heat. And I'm like, dude, this sucks, because I'm like decent at throwing, but like not that good. And like, I'm about to just get bodied on this live stream. And that's like exactly what happened, Yep. And then you watch Tommy, that video from OSG, Tommy and Andrew throwing next to each other. And it's seriously like so eye-opening. That's a really, really cool video. If you guys have never seen it,
it's really good.
I'll try to like repost it or put a link to it, but it's okay. So I always forget, like I talk about people on a first name basis, but there's people that may not know it. We're talking about Tommy Lavelle, who's one of the best 80s ever, and Andrew Hanus, who's one of the best 80s. And there's a video of them at OSG throwing bags directly next to each other, sandbag over bar. And it's just incredible to watch how good they are at throwing.
I mean, I think the first 1 or 2 bags, both of them just did it one-handed. I think they were just like,
it was so cool to watch how just proficient they are together. But
yeah.
Then,
man.
But I don't even know what to put a value at for this. I'm trying to think, like, will Tommy throw over 20 foot?
I honestly have no clue. I think
should I DM him? Should I DM him real quick while we're sitting here?
Yeah, I don't know if he's awake, but not that I don't know his schedule. I don't know why. I don't want that to sound weird. But I don't know, man. I think 18 at a minimum. I also don't know, like, 1, is there a record? 2, let's say Tommy just like handedly, which is very possible because he is so good at this event, like he might just beat everybody out.
Yeah.
And like are they going to let him keep going or what? Or even if they want him to keep going, is he going to want to? Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, I agree. And it goes back to, this is a 2-hour show, roughly.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, dude, you can try to break whatever record this is and you'll get to rest for another hour. Like, dude, you're going to be doing stones in 15 minutes. So like, so depends on how he feels. I don't know. I'm excited to see how high people can throw a bag.
Yeah.
Cause I've cleared 16, maybe.
Yeah.
I actually think we'll see 20 foot. I
think it's possible.
I really do.
It seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think about how much better these guys are than me. Like, and I've cleared 15, 16 with 35. So yeah, I honestly think we'll see well over 20.
And it's not a bag ladder. It is 1 bag for max height. So like to me, that the task is a lot simpler because at that point, you don't have to worry about split times. And it's like they don't have to worry about So with the bag ladder, you have to obviously get the height, but you have to get the right arc too, especially with guys like Tommy. They're not throwing, they're not grabbing the bag and walking up to the line. They're grabbing the bag and throwing it from where the bags are.
Yeah.
So it's not completely different, but there's way more
variation. I actually think I'm
Tommy,
naive to think they weren't going 20 because I'm just thinking about how good Tommy is. And like you said, that is a great point because he's going to have the time to set up. So it's like a deadlift ladder versus just setting up for a max ever deadlift. Everything's going to be the exact same for him every single time. And he's focused on throwing it like a clean single.
Yeah, he doesn't have to run and grab. Even if he has to walk and grab the bag, he's got 30 seconds. He can grab the bag, drop it, and I'm sure that he's been very methodical in like, okay, my feet need to be 2 feet in front of the posts. Drop the bag. My feet are set.
Dude, he's going to throw something crazy.
Yeah.
I actually apologize for saying they weren't going to throw over 20 because I think they're definitely
I just don't know enough about like throwing like Highland Games style stuff, which is what I would categorize this. I just don't have enough knowledge.
I literally just referenced it to myself and just think of how much better these guys are.
Let me put it this way. I mean, you probably would agree. If Tommy were to get into the Highland Games, he would probably get at like a upper echelon elite level like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I see videos of him throwing one hand bag and it makes me feel really sad about myself. Like it's wild how just impressive he is at throwing.
Yeah.
So no, that's cool. That's going to be a really fun event. I'm curious, like if you guys are watching this on YouTube, comment what you guys think like 80's will top out at, whether you're competing or not. I'm curious to see what people think. So it's 35-pound bag, 1 foot jump starting at 12 feet. What's going to be that last successful jump? I'm curious to see what people think.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know, man. Last week I watched the CrossFit Games and I was watching that sandbag to shoulder. And I was like texting people. I'm like, there's no way these guys hit 330.
Yeah, dude.
And they had 340 and they had to bring out the 350 for them.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I could talk about that all day.
Me too, dude. Me too.
Yeah. I was in my living room standing up next to the TV, like, let's go.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. A couple things. Like, first off, and we'll get back on track, but it really puts into perspective how elite of athletes those guys are and like why there is like a $300,000 check for first place. Two, it was really cool to see how much more strongman implementation. Like, I don't know if like there's a new wave in CrossFit where like someone high up loves strongman. Like they're just low key listening to this show right now. And like,
I can tell you what the difference was this year.
What's that?
So prior to this year, it's always been like Dave Castro, the guy doing the programming.
Yeah.
Which like people have various opinions on him. We don't need to get into it. But I do think Dave historically has had a pretty good eye for events. However, Dave is not in that role anymore. And they brought on Adrian Bosman, who has been in CrossFit literally since basically the beginning. And he has this like crazy just base fundamental idea of what CrossFit is. And CrossFit is like constantly varied functional movements, high intensity, large load across large spaces or whatever the mantra is. And like if you go and look at some of the old journal videos, which I used to watch all the time, like Adrian Bosman, he was like, no, strongman is CrossFit. He's like, that is the most, there's like an old journal typed up entry where he was like implementing strongman implements has more like connection with CrossFit than any other sport.
You know what's wild is like, you're kind of like with the way Anthony Furman is doing his shows and how CrossFit is ran, they're getting closer. Like at these, and I'm not saying like your parking lot show, like those are awesome too. That's always going to be strongman to me as well.
Yeah.
But I'm saying these elite shows to run them on TV or a live stream efficiently, it's kind of getting closer. Like some of these people that have always like been like, fuck CrossFit, all this stuff, like they're getting mad, you know?
Dude, First off,
I just want to say like, dude, if you can't shoulder a 350 bag, it's tough to talk shit on CrossFit right now because their guys don't train for that. and we train for it. And there's guys that can't shoulder a 340 bag.
Yeah.
So,
Let me just say this. One, if you're a strength athlete or fitness person and you're still that one guy talking shit on CrossFit, whether it's a local affiliate or the games,
it's weird.
You're a loser and you're just jealous and you want to stay in your little niche alleyway and feel special. And CrossFitters make you feel not special, which is fine, but go to therapy and shut up.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, it's still just, yeah, I don't know. I think they can both be cool. Like,
yeah,
I'm not going to do CrossFit.
You don't have to want to do CrossFit, but like every strength sport has benefited from CrossFit.
That's what I was going to say. I probably that phrase has probably been reiterated on this podcast more than any phrase.
Yep.
But people, all I'm saying is, if you want money and support, you're a power lifter, if you're a strongman, even Olympic lifting is a little different, but CrossFit has fed us so much than we could have ever imagined, especially powerlifting.
Yep.
With Reebok, with all these bigger sponsors, dude, it would have never happened without CrossFit. And I just hope people realize that. That's all I'm going to say about that. But, and even last thing too, their yoke was in a wad and it was heavier than the yoke in Clash this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I think it was 660.
Yeah, it was about 660 on like day 3.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. And this is the last thing. We're not turning this into a CrossFit like fanboy podcast, but this is the Clash of the 80s like preview show. But their most eye-opening, like sobering thing I heard watching the CrossFit games last weekend was they were walking out and they're doing the sandbag. And then the guy goes, "This is event 10 this weekend." And you're like, dude, like event 10. And these dudes are shouldering a 340 bag and a girl shouldered a 250.
Yeah. Also, dude, I think the big takeaway is we were watching with family and friends. We were eating dinner, hanging out because I was a little bit behind. And I said, I think the log jam is going to be at 300. And that is not what happened, dude. There were something like 16 athletes left at 300.
You know what's funny is that's my exact text I sent. I said, I think 300 is going to be where the big separation is, where you see like 2 to 5 guys left.
Yeah.
Not at all, man.
So
it was more like, it was literally like 320.
Yeah. I think it was literally 320.
Go look at 320 for our class for 80s and 90s for OSG. That gets you into OSG.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
and guys did 15 tries at it. These guys do event 10. Wild. Just mind-blowing how good athletes those people are. So my cousin he's just sitting there just so happy right now with what we're talking about listening. But anyway, so sandbag toss, really excited to see that. The last event of the day, always a cool classic strongman event to end on, is stones. It's a 5-stone series. Platform starts really high.
What's the platform on the first one?
I believe it is 60-inch platform.
Yep, that sounds about right.
250 Atlas stone.
And the first one.
The first one's a 250, and it's a 60-inch platform. I honestly think some of our bottom third competitors, especially in the stones, will have a lot of trouble with that.
Dude, there's a couple of guys on this list that are like shorter than I am. And we can have the like really stupid debate of like, oh, height shouldn't matter. But
it does. We know
that with something like a stone to platform, it absolutely matters. There's a couple of these guys where that first stone is going to take them way longer than it should, or
not
be able to get it.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 guys on this list that like, even if they were to shoulder a 250, which I know they can,
right?
They're not going to be able to get it up there.
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
It's crazy because some guys just have that uncanny ability to be so explosive with a stone where they literally can go in like one motion and press it. But that's not the case. That's the really top guys.
Yeah.
So I really think that's.
But again, if that's a high platform, man.
I'm just saying we might see some guys not get that first stone.
I do think you're right. The bottom third, the majority of their stone run is going to be the first stone.
I agree. And so you only have 60 seconds, and it says roughly for the stone weights. And I get that you can't make stones exact. They're not going to be calibrated, but 250, 275, 300, 325, 350.
Okay. That's appropriate.
And it's going from 60 to 40 with 5-inch drops. So 60, 55, 50, 45, 40. Now,
so
you even look at a 275 stone to 55 inches. That's for a long time. That's been a pretty good stone in our class. Yeah. But I still think that 250 to 60 inches remains the hardest one in the first.
I think the 2 stones after the first stone, so stones 2 and 3, I think someone could very easily, the time it takes to get the first stone, they can get those next 2 stones.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, you are going to see some studs on these stones. You're going to see some studs. I really think about over a third are going to finish. Yeah. And your top 2 to 4, I have a couple guys in mind, are going to finish in fast. I'm trying to think, under 20 seconds, maybe, possibly.
Man, even more than a medley. It's going to be doing the perfect setup and pick and all that with the stones, man. So the sport of strongman is threading the needle of going as hard and fast without making mistakes. And I mean, we've seen, especially the last couple of years, man, like, you know, when people get to the last event of the day, they're tired, they've kind of resigned themselves. But how many times have we seen athletes that are in like 5th place that are like, no, this is another event with points on the line. I'm going to send it. So, yeah, I don't know. That's why, like, somebody like, you know, I mean, not to ice anybody out, but like somebody like Ricky, you know, when that video of him getting that stone at OSG and he's essentially like bending himself in half, like, that's the kind of effort I'm hoping to see on the last event, because that's another, you know, however many points left.
That's another, we talked about Tommy versus Andrew. That's another wild video to see.
Yeah. I was there.
Yeah, dude.
Watching, I had just met Ricky the day before. I like walked up to him. I saw his yoke run, and it was before I even knew what the points were. And I walked up to him and I was like, hey man, I don't know you, but you're killing it.
Ricky, how do you say his name?
Pangonobon. Yeah.
Pangonobon.
If that's wrong, Ricky, you're allowed to punch me in the face in November.
I don't think I've talked to him maybe other than like a couple DMs, like when we did our last pod, but seems like a super cool dude. And obviously just an absolute stud. I think he's kind of, we'll talk about it in 1 second. Are we good to move on to the athletes now?
Yeah, I'd say that. I think we went through all the events. Fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Ricky is kind of like, I think he's kind of getting some disrespect for this show. Like, people are forgetting, like, he just won OSG.
Well, here's why. Probably one, OSG was his 2nd or 3rd strongman show.
But he won. It's fucking
but he won.
It's wild.
And then 2, his, like, other than some of the OSG video work he did, he's not, you know, he posts his training, but he has a life. He's in school. I think he just started med school. Like, he has a full life outside of strongman, which is really awesome. But like, other than just being a strong athletic stud, like, you know, he's not a fitness professional. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think he has like a personal training certification. So he's not putting himself out there a whole lot other than just his day-to-day training footage, just like fucking smoking log.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But so let's just run down our list of competitors. Like I said, we got 14.
Yep.
14 guys. So we got Tim Daglish, Jason Teitelbaum, World's Strongest Nerd. So he made our Hercules hold for Battle of the Bridge.
Oh, really? I competed. We did the very first OSG together in 2017. Oh, really? Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. He's actually a guy that people don't really know that much, maybe out of this list, but like, he's actually a pretty accomplished 80 kilo guy. Yeah. Just won USS Nationals.
Also, like, if I remember correctly, I think he walks around under 80 kilo a lot.
He competed at 165 before, and I know that.
Yeah. So that's the thing. He's won like a bunch of 165 stuff.
Yeah. Dan Ashcroft, obvious.
Lash.
Yeah. Obviously, he's a bigger name for the 80s.
Yep. Yep.
He's my prediction right now to win the Axel.
That is a great, safe, solid bet.
Benjamin Bennett, I believe, did he qualify from online or did he qualify from USS? I don't know. I don't know him.
Qualified via the online?
Did he?
I could be wrong. I think he qualified online.
Because 2 guys from USS Nationals qualified, top 2. I was thinking
they didn't do top 3.
I think it was just top 2.
Okay. No, I'm pretty sure this guy qualified via online.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I could be wrong. Ben, if I'm wrong, DM me. I think Ben Bennett is a guy that I think used to compete up a weight class. In the past year or so, he's like dieted down.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I could be wrong.
And we're gonna talk about the weight cut aspect too and some other aspects, but next competitor is Aaron Talavera.
Yep.
He's another guy. He's done some 90 stuff, right?
Yep.
Has the block press record at 90 kilo.
Yep.
Benjamin Donan. He came. So I didn't know him that well until the Clash qualifiers, where I was very abruptly introduced to him because he's a stud.
Yeah, monster deadlifter,
dude. What did he do for Axel for 5? Like, dude,
it was
636 or something. Am I right?
Yeah,
like 636 Axel for 5.
Yeah.
Another stud deadlifter, CJ Krause, obviously one of the better American deadlifters by
100%.
The record he has right now for the American deadlift. So obviously, by definition,
he has the capability to take down the all-time deadlift record. I think it's just going to be a matter of where he can fit it in if he so chooses.
Yeah. One of my favorites to win next is just a kid that's just a stud, is Mason Cup. Never met him. Don't know if I've ever talked to him, but he's another one. Like we talked about Ricky, kind of just came out of nowhere, and he's pretty scary.
Yeah, I think he got 5th at OSG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was his second ever strongman comp, I'm pretty sure. Something like that. Just he's gonna be a kid, he's gonna be someone to watch extremely close next weekend. Rich Molnar.
I don't think I know him. I think this is some.
He's a stud.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Another Englishman. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy's a total stud.
Yeah. His Instagram name is World's Strongest Racer.
Yeah.
Says he's a motorcycle racer.
Yeah.
But I would have thought he was one of my picks to podium, but I believe he sustained an injury, like he tore his ACL or something.
That I'm not sure exactly. He had a bad spill with a stone.
I saw that.
I don't know if upside to being a strength athlete is your body. You can take hits like that and be okay. I don't know though. But
I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere he tore his ACL or something like that.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, like recently. But he's a stud. He's another one of the ones Clash qualifiers. I was abruptly introduced to who he is.
Yeah. Because you're right. He ruptured his ACL a month ago.
Well, that's tough to come back from. But I'm rooting for that guy, man. That's
100%.
awesome. But like his deadlift is insane. Like he posted a video of him hitting I think like almost 700, and it was like insanely smooth. So yeah, just a stud.
Yep.
Ricky Pangonobon,
the reigning world's strongest man, 80 kilo. Sorry.
The reigning, he's the strongest 80 kilo right now. And then followed by him in line is Tommy Lavelle, who is the strongest man before him and second place this year.
Yep. And 5th place. I think that pedigree, like Tommy went 5th, 1st, 2nd. Knowing Tommy, the little bit I know him, I know like He wanted that second to be another first, but
Yeah.
I think like given how the weight class has gone, being able to go fifth, first, and second is a tremendous feat.
And Tommy Lavelle is by far the most famous 80 kilo. I mean, he's sitting there probably like, if he's listening to this, I hope he is, but he's probably rolling his eyes because you don't really get anything for being the most famous 80 kilo. But I think when you think about our class, he's probably the most recognizable name. People that know the most, I would say.
Yeah.
I will say, if this makes him feel any better, when I put up the Q&A yesterday, which we got a lot of response for, actually, it was cool. Tommy was overwhelmingly the number one pick.
No, 100%.
So he's got a big fan base too, rightfully so. The last three competitors, Jeremy Schell, he's fairly new to strongman too. A stud. He just tore his bicep though, and just coming back. I was just exchanging DMs with him yesterday, and I'm like, man, that's like props to you, because he was so close to, I think, even being allowed to compete, because that's how recently he tore his bicep.
Yeah.
And he's back hitting huge weights already. So like, man, I was like, that speaks to your work ethic, dude. Like, to come back and you're still going to compete and try to put on a show, man. Good job. So I'm rooting for him. Ross Remillar,
the man.
That's your buddy, right?
Yeah, Ross is, I mean, on top of just he has been like one of the strongest 80s in the field for a long time now. And I think last year he like really connected the dots on what he needed to improve to like make top 10. And all that aside, Ross is just, I probably talked to him almost probably the most out of everybody here, and just a great dude, man.
Yeah. He seems like, I've exchanged words with him just a couple times, and I always follow his training and stuff. Seems like a good dude. Super great deadlifter too. Great strong man. Like, when I say that, I don't want to take away from people. Like, I know you're more than a deadlifter, stuff like that, but really good deadlifter, I've noticed from his videos. And then the last competitor, Robert Hughes. He was Mr. Irrelevant, I think. I think he was one of the last guys in.
Yeah.
And I remember the drama during Clash qualifiers. Like,
with
he
the
was
Sandbag.
and he's like saran wrapping a sandbag. I'm like, dude, if you can do it, man, do it.
Yeah. I mean, the way I try and do things is, I'm sure it's the same way most of us do, like same as Robert. Like, you do things at such a high level to such a high standard that no one can question you. But also within that, you need to take advantage of any possible thing.
He won that event, dude. He won that event. So more power to him. And he was the last man in. And I think maybe not now with like some dropouts and stuff, but at the time, I think he was like one of the last invites sent out. So he snuck in, man. And he is a stud. He really is a stud. And he's made the OSG finals before too. So it's not like he's a nobody.
No, not at all.
But so those are the names. Couple things I want to say before predictions too. One thing, like if you follow just strongman, like World's Strongest Man, Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw, Thor, those type of guys. One thing that like our class deals with, and it's the reality of it, is weight cuts. Okay. So one thing you'll see from one of these 14 guys, most likely someone's going to have a shitty cut.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of it. You have probably out of this crew, 8 to 12 guys doing a 15+ pound water cut.
Yeah.
While traveling for some people out of the country, a lot of guys across the country. So we may say, hey, we think, so-and-so is going to win, but then they don't even make weight, or they have, or not, maybe not that, but maybe they have a really crappy weight, have to come back later, weigh in, and it really affects their performance. Now, I think when Anthony was on, this is the last thing, and I'll let you go, but Anthony Furman was on, and I kind of not argue with them, but brought up like the fact, like, we're doing these online qualifiers, there should be a weight, you have to weigh. He said, well, this is how we're doing it at Clash. If you compete in a class, like say someone and they qualify for this and they come and they don't make weight, they're not allowed to compete in Clash anymore.
Good.
So that's some high stakes, dude. Like, you don't make weight this weekend. Like, if Anthony's a man of his word, which I think he is.
Yeah. Well, also, like, we need to understand what's going on here. Like, and people can say we're taking this too serious, which is fine. We definitely
Probably
do.
are.
Yeah, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like, then get out. But like, the thing is this is a pro show. Anthony's paying for hotel rooms. There's like actual money on the line.
Yep.
There's no registration fees. There's a stream. Like, this is like the literal first actual pro lightweight show.
Great point.
And as dramatic as it sounds, if you're given a spot to compete at this and you show up and you don't make weight, you, for lack of a better way of saying it, you stole money out of someone's pocket.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
So you're taking opportunity away from people that, I've expanded my sort of strongman stuff to coaching and programming. And now, like, I don't compete to advertise, but competing is a great way to promote me and the stuff I offer. So yeah, like, there are people that this financially can benefit them in a real way. So if you're not professional enough to be able to make weight, then yeah, I think there should be like a moratorium or a suspension because you've stolen money and opportunity from someone else.
Even with all that aside, you just took away an experience for someone to get a spot at the first ever pro show.
Yep. Yeah. Even just on like an emotional level. Yeah. You've taken away someone else's. Yeah.
That is a great point though, Cody. Because like, this is the first, I don't know if we even really like emphasize that enough, that this is the first ever 80 kilo pro show in America.
Yeah, a true
in the I don't, maybe the world, I don't know, but definitely.
I mean, to my knowledge, yeah, I don't think there has ever been even anyone claiming to have a pro.
You get OSG and like, yeah, that's like the title, whatever, but even to go to OSG, you still pay $300.
Yeah.
And you have to go and pay for your hotel and all that stuff.
100%. Let's just clear it up like this so everyone understands. OSG is the title. If you win that, you are the strongest person in your weight class, bar none, end of story. Like, that's just how it goes. However, at least not yet. I know Lynn and the organizers, Darren and everyone are working really hard. It's not a pro show. We have to pay for our hotel room. We have to pay for registration. We have to pay to get
also there. With that volume, that's no knock on Lynn and them, because
no, absolutely not. That's like 300 or 400 athletes. I get it. Right. But they also don't advertise it as a pro show either. Sure. So there's no lying, there's no falsification. It's just, this is the event. If you want the world title, this is the event to do it at. And they're right. And it's great. And OSG, if I had to do one show the rest of my competing life, it would be OSG. Clash is the first pro lightweight show. And, given the financial state of the world and just how the sport's going, like 2 to 3 nights in a hotel, no registration, food catering, actual cash prizes. That's it. That's a pro show to me, like at a minimum.
And I could see Clash taking over for our classes, like the title eventually. Like, I really could. I mean, it depends how it goes. Hey, I don't know, man. I mean, it's cool.
Before OSG, it was the Arnold.
Yep.
Because it was the most prestigious, and the Arnold is still insanely important. I'm biased. I made day 3 and medaled at the Arnold, but
no, I do think, and I think that they all have their own place. Like, I really do. Yeah. And I think, what I think is cool, and I'm glad you brought that up. I think that all 3 shows are far enough apart now that it's kind of cool on the schedule to look like 3 times a year we have a really important title in our class.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want whoever wins the Arnold this year to like think that they don't, like, that's not an impressive title, because, and I kind of hate that, like, because whoever wins the Arnold this year, you can't really say shit to them, because they just competed against whoever showed up and whoever qualified to get there. Like, it's not their fault that like Andrew might not have been there, or they showed up and beat who they could. So I agree, but like, you got OSG in November, Arnold in March, and then now Clash, in August, middle of the summer. So I think that's cool to have 3 titles throughout the year.
To me, that's basically perfect. If you're a high level competitor and you're trying to like stamp down your sort of legacy, Like those are the three, man, and it's going to take some planning. And if you want to do all three in a year, like that's a hell of an effort. But even if you can do two out of the three a year, like each year you have to pick two, like, all right, well, I'm going to pick the Arnold and Clash, or Clash and OSG, or the Arnold and OSG. Like,
Right.
if you're there, if you just make it to those, you're a badass. But like, if you're at those shows and you're in the mix for the top, like 3 to 5 guys, like you're a stud. You got your shit wired. Like, you're a badass. So hats off to you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and I just think the level of guys we have at this show this weekend, I'm just rooting for everyone to put on a show. I want everyone to buy the live stream and really support it, because it's only going to help Anthony, those guys running Clash, to make it bigger, better for next year.
Well, it helps with the prize money. Like, I'm sponsoring the women's 91 kilo show, and like all those live stream purchases go directly to the prize payout,
which is really cool. We're gonna talk about that in a second too, but
did we go over elevation and the time?
We're about to. Yeah, that's what that's what the last thing I was gonna say. But this show is in Denver, Colorado.
Yep.
So elevation's crazy, right? I've never felt it. You said you have.
I mean, I have a soft admission. I actually have a fairly sensitive equilibrium. So like I can't do any roller coasters that go upside down, or else I just immediately am sick. But my partner and I, we went to Denver like 6 months before lockdown, so 2019. And I remember we got off the plane and went to eat with some friends. And I would say within like 4 to 5 hours or less, I noticed the elevation, and I felt it almost the whole trip. Again, I have a very sensitive equilibrium. I've never noticed it for the other traveling I've done for strongman, luckily. But I think given how many guys there are and how many of these guys are coming in from really different places, I think, like you said, 1 to 3 guys, I think everyone's making weight. Everyone on this list is a professional. But I do think 1 to 3 guys are going to have a hard cut for one reason or another. And I do think 1 to 3 people, they're gonna notice the elevation.
Yeah. So before we kind of say who we think is going to shake out top 3 to 5, elevation's crazy, weight cuts, traveling across the country,
or the world.
That's kind of all the things to consider. Now, like when we start looking at names, CJ Krause, he's already a top guy, and you can see the venue from his house where he lives.
Yeah.
So like that plays into him, but he also does big cuts.
Yes.
So like it's kind of like some give and take there, but he's obviously used to the elevation, and I think that may hurt people more than we think.
I mean, I don't want to be as simple-minded as others, but like, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and do the math. What I'm wondering is if the person coming from the lowest elevation to Colorado, if they're going to be the person that feels it. So like whoever is like the closest or below sea level or whatever, are they going to be the one that notice it, or is it like a more personal thing, like with me?
Yeah, it's probably it's probably case by case.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like with CJ, like he literally can see the venue. Like he's going to be, well, not with also the show's all 5 events in 2 hours. That's a factor. But like if CJ wanted to, he could literally he could walk across the street to his apartment and grab food or something. So yeah, that's awesome. So a part of me wonders like, how much of just a mental advantage that is, even if he has a big cut. Like knowing you get to sleep in your own bed, you've got your air conditioning that you can set as low as you want. Like those are all huge factors.
Right.
Yeah. But even with a big cut, he has just a mental, emotional, logistical advantage living across the street from the venue.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
I think when everything's said and done, my top 4 are, and this is in no order yet, but I think CJ Krause, Mason Cup, Tommy Lavelle, and Ricky.
Okay. That's interesting.
What do you think compared to that? Like if you have a 3.
So again, this is not a knock on anybody. What I'm looking at is you either have to have an extensive competition history for me to look at, or you're just a fucking rock star. You know, somebody like Ricky or Mason. I think Mason is a good call, but my top 4 or 5 in no order. Well, you'll be able to discern a little bit, but I'm thinking, oh man.
Yeah.
Hughes,
I like that.
CJ, Ashcroft, Tommy, Ricky. And that's just, because we've got a mix of rock star studs, but they also all have a weapon or two. Like, you know, Tommy and Ricky are top notch at everything, but both of them have got 1 or 2 things that they're just that is their shit.
I think the events are so good for Tommy.
Yeah.
With stones and bag toss. Like, I would be so shocked if he loses bag toss.
I mean, it's as safe of a bet as possible that he's going to win the bag toss. My question in that case, though, it's going to be who comes in between. I mean, let's be clear, and no offense to anybody else. I actually hope I'm wrong because it's going to be better TV.
We're the World of Warcraft meme watching from home right now. So make fun of us.
To me, in my mind, it's Tommy or Ricky. It's going to be who has the best day that comes in first or second. I think the question then becomes who is the most, not just consistent, but is in the mix. And I think CJ, Hughes, Dan, those guys are they're really good they're just super. When I say solid, I don't mean like, oh, they can go to nationals. Like, those guys are hitting like huge numbers regularly. They move well. You know, like, I'm not seeing a lot of like energy leakage. They seem to be really fit. Like, you know,
so
Dan.
Who could win? Okay, so if we're in Vegas, Lavelle and Ricky are like by far. They would be the heavy favorites, like not even close.
Yeah.
Who, if you had a value pick with your own money, mine's Cup.
For third?
First. I'm saying you have to bet on a winner that isn't Ricky or Tommy.
Oh, that is not.
Mason Cup.
That's not Ricky.
I think he has. And also,
dude, I mean, that is a really good call.
CJ's obviously hometown.
CJ's hometown. I
would think CJ would be the heavy favorite to podium if it was like gambling odds, because the hometown, elevation, everything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get someone out of that, like maybe immediate.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, dude, to me it's Dan Ashcroft or Robert Hughes, because they are both so strong, really fast. I think Dan, if I remember correctly, I do think Dan is going to lose points on the bag toss. Hughes is really good at bag toss ladders. I don't know how he's going to do for height. So that's, I mean, Mason Cup, man. I mean, I just don't know. And I don't see it. He just doesn't post any training videos.
Yeah.
His last 2 Instagram posts were him standing in front of the banner at OSG, and then his banner for Clash.
So the kid that got me into training in college, the person that got me into lifting weights, like literally almost 10 years ago now, he trained at the same gym as Mason and said how nice he was and like how big of a stud he is. And so I have like a bias. Like, I want to just see that kid.
For sure. No, and I have a bias with Hughes and Dan because we've all done OSG together a couple times, and I've talked to him. So
what was the stat? I like Hughes a lot. I liked Hughes because I never talked to him. And then we were like, I like the way he did the Clash qualifiers where he's like saran wrapping shit and just shutting people up. Like, I kind of just like that. So he got a fan out of me. So he actually told me this stat, and this is crazy, but out of these 14 guys, half have made the finals in OSG. Half. Yeah. And 3 people are multiple finalists, you know, and we have 2 winners.
Yep.
That's pretty wild. So
dude.
Like, I'll go to some people that submitted stuff. People said, this guy said no specific order, Kraus, Title Bomb, Lavelle. This guy's got Jason on the podium, which would be, I think that would stun people, but that'd be cool.
I mean Jason's really good. I think he's going to lose points he's going to lose too many points I think on some of these events.
Yeah. Lavelle and Ricky 1 and 2. I think that's the favorite.
Yeah.
Ricky and Tommy 1 and 2, and then this one says Kraus and Hughes for third.
Yeah.
Lavelle, Ricky, Hughes, Ashcroft, Kraus, CJ, Tommy, Ricky, Dan, Tommy, like a bunch of Tommies in a row. Like, so, I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what people were sending in.
Yeah.
But
I think it is, man, I think it's going to be who has the best week of travel and competing. I think the people that are going to do well, everything's going to go right for them because not because they got lucky, but because they planned the logistics well. They planned on getting there in time, accounting for any variables. They've planned their cutout correctly. Like, I think it's going to be, and how their training's gone. Like, we keep saying it, but this is a 5-event show, heavy, 2 hours, in a place that only one guy lives. Like, there are a lot of logistics to handle on that if you want to do well. I don't think, and anyone that, I mean, I know it's cool to sort of like play casual, but no one's going to podium at this by accident. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I didn't expect this. Like, no one's going to podium at this show that didn't plan on it and didn't plan every detail. And if they said that they just like, oh, it just happened, and, I just did it and it happened, like, they're a liar, full on. So,
no, yeah. So, just want to recap real quick. It's the Clash of the 80's is Saturday, August 20th. So from when you're listening to this, it's this Saturday. We will post the link. Make sure you guys support it. It's just going to help pro shows for weight classes, grow and be bigger, better, bigger cash prizes. But Cody, I want to talk about you real quick before we hop out. So you're going to be you're Furman's color guy, I guess, or the other way around. Is he the color guy? But you guys are be commentating Class of the 91's women.
Yeah. So I don't know what color guy means.
It's like it's like a announcing term. It's
okay.
The two like the color commentator and like the straight man or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, dude, I don't. Man, it could go either way. Who knows with us? But yeah,
no, that's gonna be cool, man. I was hyped to see that.
Yeah, so I got approached. I'm really good friends with Tyler Purdue, who is the director of operations at Clash. He is a strongman athlete, a strongman coach. He is a just heralded fitness corporate professional. He's like managed and made and like saved a bunch of high level corporate gyms from solvent to profiting.
Yeah.
And I tattoo him and hang out with him and his partner all the time. And he approached me. He's like, hey, Clash 91 is in Baltimore. We need sponsors. And I wanted to approach you because someone brought up getting some tattoo shops involved because so many of the athletes are tattooed.
Right.
And I asked like how much and what would need to be brought up. And he told me, and I thought it was all within my capability. So yeah, I put my name in the ring as one of the sponsors. And then I was going over some details with Tyler a couple weeks ago, and he brought up, I told him I was going to be there. And then he brought up me doing MC work because I MC'd a pound for pound challenge a couple months ago did some commentary with Ed Cohn and Ray Williams. And he asked if I would MC, and I told him that I wasn't comfortable doing MC work that day just because being the in-person live announcer is actually really tiring. I said, but something else, I said, I'd be down for something else though. And he brought up live commentary, and I said, if everyone else is cool with it, then yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah, that's cool. So we'll post a link for that show as well. I'll be buying that Class of 91s. That's the weekend after, right?
Yeah. So it's August 27th in Baltimore.
Yeah. So, and then you've been offering coaching a lot more.
Yeah.
Recently, last couple months, it seems like it's really had like it's really kind of been a passion of yours, outside of your normal work, getting into like specific programs, some in-person seminars, stuff like that. So you want to talk about that as well, and just how people can get a hold of you and everything like that?
Yeah, man. So basically, coaching and programming, I've done a little bit for a very few select people the last 2 years or so. I've got a friend, my really good friend, Will Brothers. I've been programming for him for about 2 years now. But I've been wanting to broaden that for a while now, and I was mostly just scared and didn't have like sort of that self-confidence to put it out there because I didn't feel as though I didn't feel qualified, and I was afraid people in the sport would have a bad judgment of it. But we had the Arnold, and the Arnold went really well for me, and I was very lucky that I got a lot of kind of good publicity out of that, and it just felt like the right time. So I basically just had like a full on launch of my coaching, and I offer one on one remote coaching. That client list is full at the moment because I get so in depth with talking to my clients and their day to day lives and tailoring it to their lifestyle. But the big thing is I run a subscription based strongman program, and it's on Train Heroic, which is just an app. It's really easy to use, and for $25 a month, you're going to get 4 workouts a week, all structured progressions that kind of build upon one another, and they work in kind of 6 week chunks. And it's going awesome. And we like rotate a lot of exercises. It's not lined up necessarily with any one contest, but what I basically do is right before the end of every sort of 6 and 12 week chunks is I basically take a look at all the major shows and see what implements are sort of commonly being used. And as long as it's nothing too redundant, I'll cycle those in. But the big focus is getting you better at strongman. So there's a push pull upper day, there's a posterior lower body pulling day. Then there's like an auxiliary conditioning day where you're doing basically all the small muscle group stuff you need to keep healthy, mixed in with core working and aerobic conditioning. And then just a really cool events day with some accessory work. And there's like a team chat where people can share videos and ask questions.
That's
I'm
cool.
on it. Yeah, I'm on there pretty regularly. I'm usually the first person to reply with people's questions.
Mhm.
But other people that have been in it now since the beginning, we've got like about 5 to 10 people that have been there literally since day one, May 15th, and they've been helping. Also, what I've been doing is I know that like actual personalized coaching is not it's not cheap if it's from somebody that's qualified, and we live in a monetary world, so I know that somebody spending like 150, 200, $250 a month it's just not feasible all the time. But if you want to sign up, there's a 7-day free trial with every sign up. If you have a contest coming up, it's really easy. I help people just give them a very basic outline of like your contest is this day, so you've got 12 weeks. At week 6, make these alterations. And obviously that's never going to be quite as in depth as like a one-on-one sort of thing. But I've got basically a template that I just send to people that can make adjustments, but they still can use the program for the periodizing. And yeah, man, I wanted to be able to offer, I think, a program that is accessible to as many people as possible, whether you're somebody that's just doing the show or two a year around your neighborhood, or if you've been to Nats or you're going to nationals and you just need some help.
Right
I
on,
think
man.
yeah, man, there's a lot of little stuff in there that I don't see other people doing. I actually have never looked at anyone else's program ever, other than those couple of templates you'll find on Google. But we do a ton of conditioning, specifically for strongman. And then there's a lot of unilateral work and basic core work, just because I think a lot of people can benefit from doing athletically minded strength training, but it's nothing crazy. It's like single-sided pressing variations, single-sided squatting, single-sided hinging, just stuff to help you just get stronger and feel better for longer. A lot of the accessory work, I call it the health pump. So you're doing a ton of like shoulder work that it feels good, but it's also, we're working on your rear and front delts, to be able to keep doing this stuff for a long time.
Well, right on, man. So make sure, I'm sure Dante has your Instagram handle on the screen here now if you're watching on YouTube, but make sure you guys hit Cody up if you're interested in it. He's a super nice guy. He'll respond to you as well. So hit him up. That's really cool, man. And be sure, guys, everyone, to buy Class of the 80's this weekend, and then the following weekend, the 91s. You guys can listen to Cody on there. Find a way to work in 580 barbell or horsepower on that live stream, Cody.
You send me that shirt and I'll just wear it on the live stream. Man.
So, oh, dude, I'll have it to you in time.
Seriously, I'll put the pre-workout next to me.
Oh, there we go. Well, I'm sending out a package to you then to this week.
There we go. Done.
But no, man, seriously, thank you so much for coming on, and good luck to all the guys in our class competing. I've never been so excited to watch a stream, like way more excited than watching World's Strongest Man, because it's just so relatable to us. Yep. And it's guys that you've built somewhat personal relationships, especially you. You've been in this quite a while, and you've competed at the highest level with a lot of these guys. So you've built a relationship with them. So it's like if you were to turn on an MLB game and like the guy pitching is like your friend. That's what it's like for us. So it's really
man. Cool. Yeah, and I mean that too. Like I actually, it feels good to me that like I'm not my FOMO. I mean, we talked about earlier. My FOMO is not the not competing. It's like, man, I just want to be there to help my friends out. Like, carry the bag, make sure they're eating, and man, I want everyone, regardless of placings, I want everyone to make weight, have a blast, and come out not hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a reminder, if you guys are watching on YouTube or you are on YouTube at all, make sure you hit the subscribe button to our channel 580 Barbell. We're just like now at 250 subscribers. We're trying to really grow that, putting out a lot more strongman content. Podcast goes up there every week. You can also go to 580barbell.com and click on the pre-workout tab, and we have our pre-workout available horsepower right there to order. So yeah. Until next week, everyone. Thank you so much, Cody. Thank you again for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, brother.
Yes, sir.